Hello, you lovely, lovely people. Welcome back, your lovely faces, to a brand new video here on the channel. You thought you got rid of me. I said on Monday that this was going to be the last video until next Tuesday. But today, literally in the span of about last 20 minutes, 30 minutes, the Byland Times have actually put out part 8 or part 1 of what they're calling phase 2 of this Media 2 investigation into Dan Wootton and other interesting aspects of it. This is now for celebrity targets, and they have been revealed that Dan Wootton actually went after. We have text messages, we have WhatsApp messages, and we also have a couple of people who have been interviewed by the Byland Times regarding this. So let's jump on in. We know about this and by here about, obviously, what's been going on, the 3-year investigation, which is absolutely amazing. Guys, if you're not subscribed to them, go over to them, subscribe if you can. If not, you can donate. There is a button as well on the actual website to donate. This is just how journalism should be. Again, you will get people who are like, no, what they're doing is wrong. They can't go against him, blah, blah, blah. First of all, before we get into this as well, I want to let people know that what Dan Wootton is allegedly being convicted of by people so far, again, innocent until proven guilty, but is fraud, blackmail, and voyeurism. Voyeurism because he is getting other people to record themselves with someone else doing the deed with the other person not knowing they're being recorded. And that is for the gratification of Dan Wootton, allegedly. Remember, though. So that's why it's called voyeurism. And it actually has a sentence of up to 2 years in prison. Dan Wootton met young male reality TV stars through his work as a prominent showbiz journalist and then privately propositioned them to do photo shoots at his home for underwear brands in an abhorrent abuse of power, we can reveal. Among those, Wootton targeted over an 8-year period between 2011 and 2019, during which he was working for The Sun, ITV and the Daily Mail, with The Only Way as Essex star Kirk Norcross, Big Brother contestant JJ Bird, and an X Factor singer who was just out of his teens. Out of them, I only know JJ Bird due to boxing. That is it. I saw him, a few things on Big Brother and that's it. Kirk Norcross, I don't know who he is. An X Factor singer, which, that'll be the kicker to see who the X Factor singer is. Each had first encountered Wootton, today a star presenter on GB News, as a result of their involvement in the TV industry, on which it was his highly paid job to report, and through which he enjoyed a powerful media influence. Wootton was on his first day as editor-at-large of the Daily Mail in December 2011, when he approached a Big Brother Series 11 contestant, JJ Bird, then 25, and who is today a boxing trainer, having also been a pro fighter. Mr. Bird, who refused Wootton's offers, is among the first group of people in the public eye to discuss their interactions with Wootton. The first group. They've only mentioned 3 people here so far, and this is just the first group. They've obviously done interviews with many more people, and I think we are going to see this now in the next couple of weeks of who these celebrities are. It's not looking good for him at the moment. He told Byland Times, Dan told me he was an amateur photographer and was working with underwear brands. He invited me to a test shoot at his flat with a fee attached. At that time, I was trying to fund my boxing career and develop my career in entertainment. Dan was a big name in the world of showbiz journalism who had the power to do that. Plus, anything where I was going to receive payment would obviously have been very useful. Looking back now, it was a complete abuse of his power and position, and he should not have been offering to do that kind of thing. Mr. Bird said Wootton contacted him first on Facebook, claiming, "There's one person who I'm working for at the moment who's really keen to get you for work." In later messages, Wootton changed it to 2 people I'm working with, adding, "It's just a test shoot, so low-key, not for publication. We'll still pay, obviously. Just you and various sportswear, swimwear, underwear, which I'll run by the man I'm working for before he decides how to do a full shoot which could be for publication. Just to be certain. Could you text or email me a quick shot of you shirtless now? But I'm pretty sure we'll want to go ahead anyway, because we don't necessarily need you mega ripped anyway." Wootton followed up saying the shoot would be at mine in E1, adding that they also want to know if you will do a couple of nude shots, because they do a lot of that, and that they don't necessarily need your face in. Mr. Bird declined and told the paper, "I wasn't having any of that." During their interactions, Wootton gave Mr. Bird his personal email address, the same email address he uses to this day. And as it says by here, which we went over in the last couple of videos, his email and the password is exactly the same password, which remember now, it's like 200 odd trillion different passwords could have been generated, but Martin Branning, Maria Joseph, and Dan Wootton all had the same password. That's not a coincidence, is it, you know? Test shoot tactics. Well, looks like we got a couple of text messages here as well, guys, so there's a few things to go over. Wootton was The Sun's associate editor in 2016 when he approached the X Factor singer, who was asked not to be named, to pose for a photo shoot at his home, which Wootton claimed he had done with a number of other well-known celebrities. Who are we thinking, guys? Harry Styles? One Direction people? Any of them, do you think? A celebrity singer said, "I was there to do a promotional thing with the paper. Dan Wootton was a big deal. Everyone knew he was the most powerful journalist in showbiz. I obviously said no and didn't ask which celebrities he was referring to, having also claimed to have photographed at his home, as I wasn't vaguely interested in getting involved. I felt weird, because every prior engagement had been on a professional basis for the newspaper. I remember thinking, why would that benefit me and what would I get from that?" Smart. Another celebrity whom Byland Times is not identifying did accept Wootton's offer. He said, "Dan invited me to do a test shoot for some underwear brand for £1,000. I went along thinking it was a semi-pro shoot and might help me, help my career, because Dan was, at the time, on ITV Lorraine's show and working for the biggest papers. Lorraine is a ITV morning show here in the UK, which is a very, very, very successful morning show. The studio was just his front room. It felt really awkward, especially as he was so well known." And we do have a text message by there. "Hey dude, the nude shots are usually just a couple at the end. Don't necessarily need your face in, but it's just one area they do a lot of work in. It's really chill tomorrow though, because not in the studio or anything. Literally just a test shoot. They've sent me sportswear, swimwear, underwear, but it would be good if you could bring some of your own underwear and then some of your going out clothes. Ideally tight fitting or things that show off your body. So where's your meeting at 3? Do you want to say meet at mine at 4:30 or 5? My address is this. We'll drop you a BBM now." Oh, BlackBerry messaging. There was nobody else there. Just us. There was no backdrop or anything like that. Despite Dan telling me it was a shoot for these brands, he just gave me normal boxer shorts to wear. And I changed into them in his bedroom. I thought it was all strange, but rolled with it. He was so influential, I didn't want to offend him somehow. Then the stuff he was asking me to wear became more and more revealing, and alarm bells started to ring. He brought out latex stuff. The masks, the dog masks, I bet you was all that kind of stuff, which I refused to wear. He also asked me to pose nude, but I refused to do that. The whole situation was weird and was not what I was expecting. Dan refused to pay me the full fee we'd agreed because I wouldn't go nude. It creeped me out. If he didn't want to go full nude and basically saying, well, I'm not going to pay you everything, that should have been stated beforehand. But again, no. It does seem to be that this is what Dan was asking a lot of people to do. And with this money, where's he getting it from? The Sun? Because obviously we have seen so many things coming from The Sun where his ex-partner said he would put a couple of £100, nothing fancy, not 1,000 or whatever, in my bank account, and then I'd have to give him that money so he could pay other people and say he was protecting his sources. Well, if he was doing that, this is where the money was going. It was the thrill and fantasy and power dynamic. In a third case, Dan Wootton approached the Only Way is Essex star Kirk Norcross on his own personal number via WhatsApp, this time on the 7th of September 2019, and then again on the 10th of September 2019 at 2 AM following the TV Choice Awards, which Wootton attended on behalf of The Sun. It would be weird for anyone to be messaging me at that time of the morning, but for Dan to be doing it to discuss modelling shoots was extra weird. Again, Wootton's approach, using his customary greeting of "Hey man," was to make a modelling proposition, which Mr. Norcross declined. So we got WhatsApp here, guys. "Hey man, hi mate, everything okay? Yeah, great, yourself? All good, thanks mate. Can I help you with anything?" That was a 712. Nearly an hour later, 45 minutes later. Okay then, never mind, lol. Oh, sorry man, was just tied up, not literally. Yes, wanted to speak about that modelling thing we never sorted. Following the publication of the first part of this newspaper's special investigation, Wootton reached out to Mr. Norcross last month to ask him to contribute to a crowdfund. We read that as well. We actually saw one person who has been done by Mr. Wootton in the past. They asked him to get in touch with them to ask for money. Now we know it was Kirk Norcross. The crowdfund has stalled at 38,000 on the way to 150 grand. Apparently to finance legal action against the paper after it unmasked Wootton as Martin Branning and Maria Joseph. Can you imagine the audacity of asking someone you have targeted in this way to help fund your legal fees? It was so desperate. I would encourage anyone who has had an inappropriate interaction with Dan Wootton to come forward and share this story so we can get to know the true scale of these activities. Yeah. It's one thing I want to know as well now going forward is, obviously now, he's going to know that Kirk Norcross has spoken to the paper. He's bound to say something on his show tonight or tomorrow and just try and do little jabs. Byline Times has uncovered other non-celebrity incidents in which Wootton relied upon the financial power afforded by his profession to enable extremely inappropriate behaviour. An example from 2018, Wootton booked a home visit via a reputable agency for a sports massage from a 21-year-old male trainee osteopath. During the visit, the masseuse, a straight man whose photo was advertised on the agency's website, revealed to Wootton that he was struggling financially to pay his rent in London. 4 minutes after leaving Wootton's E1 address, the masseuse received a text message from Wootton, but not from Wootton's own mobile phone. Instead, the messages appeared to come from a number with a landline code for Royston, Hertfordshire. The opening message read, "Hey man, thank you so much for that. No, you just said then read double rent, etc. Didn't want to ask you while still here in case you were not interested. But could I potentially get you for some type of extra now? Have £1,000 budget, so very, very good money. Let me know before you go too far. Thanks." I wonder what he was asking him. I'll give you £1,000 to do what exactly? So we have another text message as well regarding it. So this is what the masseuse replied to. "Hi Dan, unfortunately that's not the way I operate as a therapist. Strictly professional massage offered under guidelines and personal preference. Thank you." Of course. What about modelling work outside of massage? The guy's trying to get everything in. When the masseuse said no, stressing that his visit was strictly professional, he persisted by offering modelling work outside of massage, this time for £2,000, on the basis it would be totally confidential and between us only, with the offer of immediate payment in return for posing for a nude photo shoot. The masseuse, speaking on condition of not naming him obviously, "Most kind people would feel sympathy for my financial situation. Dan used it as a tactic to try and get me to do something extremely inappropriate. I felt shocked, uneasy." Adding that he felt deliberately targeted by Wootton because of his looks, the masseuse added that during the client report building process, Wootton spoke about his own job. The masseuse went on, "Around his house he had some signed things and I asked him and he confirmed he was a showbiz journalist, and I looked him up afterwards. Nothing about the appointment itself was at all sinister, so I didn't expect what came next. I feel my position at the time was taken advantage of. I think for Dan it was the thrill, fantasy and power dynamic. Like, I have the money, you're at my house, and I'm going to test your resolve and to try and take advantage of you. That role was my first experience of working privately. Oh, that sucks if it's your very first experience and that happens. And it was the first time anything like this had happened. I've always prided myself on being professional, and I thought, is this what it will always be like? I felt vulnerable and exploited. We have serious safeguarding concerns. Byline Times' latest revelations about Wootton's private and professional conduct has raised questions about safeguarding for The Sun, Daily Mail and ITV, according to Professor of Media Law at the University of Leeds, Paul Ragg. This story raises profound and deeply troubling public interest concerns. Underlying is an abhorrent abuse of power, which it is. There is a well-established legal principle that those who hold power, whether in government or in private organisations, must be subject to public scrutiny when their conduct falls so far below the standard expected. Here, we have serious safeguarding concerns that demand an explanation from ITV, Daily Mail and The Sun as to how one of its employees was able to use the status and charisma of his role to seduce others to bend to his will, to satisfy his own predilections without consequence. Representatives for Wootton did not comment, but this week told the Guardian newspaper that Wootton did not at any time contact current or former colleagues of The Sun with offers of money in return for explicit images, and did not engage in inappropriate behaviour in the workplace. He has never denied being or being connected to Martin Branning or Maria Joseph, but does deny all allegations of criminality. So we got by here as well now that the paper they have asked The Sun, ITV and the Mail what safeguarding concerns were raised about him when he was employed with them. We do have a spokesperson for ITV. This is what they said. At ITV, we work very hard to create an inclusive and collaborative culture. We take our responsibility of duty of care for talent and employees very seriously and have a system of processes, including speaking up, formal grievance process for any complaints to be raised. Additionally, we would always encourage individuals to come forward and share their experiences via our reporting line, SafeCall. The duty of care to our staff and freelancers and participants is of utmost importance. We have significantly strengthened the care given to all those who take part in our shows over the past 5 years. We now believe they are an industry-leading standard for the selection, protection and support of participants. And then we got a spokesperson for DMG Media for the Mail. We are not aware of any safeguarding issues raised in relation to Dan's period working as a freelance columnist for us. And it goes on to say about other individuals in the public eye and their interactions with Wootton, which it will be publishing in due course as part of the second phase of this Media 2 investigation. First of all, with the Mail people saying, oh yes, he's a freelancer, he's this, he's that. A couple of weeks ago, we saw that they didn't want to touch the story because he works for us. He's employed by us. But now they're throwing out the freelance word because with that there, it's like, oh, he's only a freelancer. He doesn't work for us. This, is not. We only get some of his stuff, twice a month or something. That's what's going on with that one there. And seeing that Kirk Norcross has come out and he's actually given his name. And some of the other people will probably look at it as well. JJ Bird as well. He's probably thinking now, uh-oh. And especially for Kirk Norcross to say, he got in touch with me asking for money so I can help him pay for this crowdfunding while he did this to me. That one by there, because obviously he's been named. Same as JJ Bird. They've come out and they've said, this is what's happened. This is what's going on. This is going to make a lot more people go, you know what? It is Dan Wootton. That is what is going to turn things now, because you got people literally saying, I don't care about my name. This is what he did to me. And with him saying as well, he got in touch with me asking for money for it. It's going to be a big one. I really do think now in the next couple of weeks, we are going to see so much more coming out. I wonder how many groups they got, and I wonder how many other people will come forward and say, this happened to me. I spoke with Martin Branning or whatever. He said this name or he asked him to come to his flat. But again, though, remember, all these are allegations, but there's more and more concrete evidence now, which is coming through the woodwork, showing that Dan Branning is the man who has been doing all of this for the last decade and a half. So, I don't know where to go from here, guys, but I will keep you up to date on this. Obviously, there won't be any more videos now for the rest of the week until next Tuesday, because that's when I'm back. And if you are new to the channel, please like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell for future updates, and I'll see you all very soon.